Inktober number 7, I think it is. Yeah, number 7. Inktober day 7. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Walden Wong Art. My name is Walden Wong, and I'm a comic book artist. I do work for Marvel Comics and DC Comics. My website is waldenwongart.com. Can you guys even hear me wearing that mask? I've gotten so many compliments with this pink mask. I don't know why people compliment me wearing this pink mask, but yeah, it's pink, but as long as it works. So today's Inktober episode is me working on Mr. Sinister. I was at the cosplay. My friend invited me there. You should check out his videos. He does a lot of great cosplay videos. His YouTube link is Burby Productions. So check it out. I add links below this video. So I saw Mr. Sinister there, and I thought that was such a nice character to draw. So I studied him for a little bit, recorded some of the images, and I'm going to show you some of the recorded images I've done. I'm not as great of a cosplay video filmer person as he is, but it was very nice experience to watch him work. So without further ado, let's watch me ink this Mr. Sinister piece. I'm going to show you how I pencil it, how I sketch it out, how I started adding details, and I'll finish it off by using white ink. So without further ado, here we go. So I'll start off with a blank piece of paper, and then right here I have a general pose in my head, and I'm sketching really bubbly figures just to get the pose out. And at this stage I'm just drawing out the pose as generic as I can, as close as stick figures, but just bubbly. And then once I'm happy with the pose, then I'll go back in there and I'll work on the anatomy of the arms, the anatomy of the body, the chest, the legs, the feet, just to make sure everything's correctly. And I'll spend a little bit more time drawing the fingers as well as the face. For me, anytime someone looks at artwork and there's a character involved, the face is the most important thing that they'll look at. They'll look at that first to look at an expression, and then after that they'll look at the hands to make sure the hands are like drawn correctly. So I'll put all that down, I'll draw it tightly, and then when I'm happy with it, I'll draw it darker in pencil. And then once in a while, I'll just lift up the artwork to look at it straight on. Sometimes if you're drawing on a flat table or if you're drawing on an inclined table, there's a good chance that your artwork might get distorted. So I'll lean over to my drawing table, look at it straight on, or I'll lift up the paper. So this image, I actually drew the head quite a few times. The first head I drew was a little bit too big and I didn't really like the way it looked. And then the second head, I drew it lower, which is stooping down, which I liked, but I didn't really like the face, and I redrew it again. So when I'm sketching, this happens to me every now and then. I'm drawing something, I don't like how it looks, I'll just erase the whole thing, I'll draw it again. Don't like how it looks, and then I'll erase the whole thing and I'll start over. This is the good thing about working in comics. You can draw everything in pencil first, you can do the erasing initially, and then when you're done, and once everything is good, then you just go in there and ink it, because once you start inking, everything that's in pencil should roughly be there. A lot of times when I'm inking, I'm not even following exactly the pencils, but I'm having a good idea of where all the pencils are. So they have everything drawn nicely in pencil. That's when everything is easier during the inking stage. So now I'm adding all the details of Mr. Sinister, all his details in there. All the straps, all the curves, the metallic shape of his body, the belt, the shoulder straps, the collar behind his head, the diamond shape on his chest, all of that, I'm just adding it on. And then on all the anatomy, just adding all the curves around the anatomy, making sure it fits. The belt I did a few times, and then I opted with just a flat regular belt. So as I was there was a lot of other cosplay characters. I remember seeing a Juggernaut there, Jean Grey was there, Spider-Woman was there. We're still in lockdown, but it felt like a comic book convention. You know, like you go to a comic book convention and then you go outside of convention, you see all these cosplay people, they're posing and making action poses and they're changing outfits. That was a pretty cool experience. So here's more video of what I recorded with my phone when I went to watch my friend do some video recording for his cosplay video. That's him holding the camera right there. He's a very talented videographer. You should check out his YouTube channel, his Burby Productions. I added links below the video. If you go there, subscribe to his channel, leave a comment, tell him that Walden sent you. He's a very talented videographer as well as a video editor. So right now I'm working on the shadows of Mr. Sinister. I'll add in all the areas where I think there's a shadow. I think about where the light source is. Light source usually is coming from above, so all the shadows coming from below. Adding all that. And right here, I'm doing a little quick sketch on the bottom of the paper just to figure out how I'm going to have all those wings behind him, like how the angles of the wings or how we flow. So I did a little sketch just to see how it looks like first. And then I'll start drawing it, and then later on I'll just erase the sketch. I could have done it on a separate piece of paper, but I just did it on the same page. And then on to my favorite part, which is inking. I'll use microns for the faces and hands, and then for the most part, the rest of the image here, I'll just use a brush. Majority of this is in brush. So after I sketched everything out, after I penciled everything, darkened up the lines I like in pencil, I'll go and start inking the piece very carefully. Now you'll notice that when I'm drawing in pencil, the page stays still. So I'm just drawing everything as is. But when I'm inking, the page is constantly spinning. It's spinning because my right hand stays where it is, but my left hand, I'm spinning it, so my hand just draws a smoother, perfect line in one direction. So let's head on over to the inking. So next comes the inking. I'll tear out the piece of paper from the pad, because the pad has a little spiral thing on top, and then when I'm inking and the pad is there, that spiral kind of blocks my hand because I'm constantly spinning the paper with my left hand. So I'll start off inking the face first. Just like when I'm drawing in pencil, I'll draw the face first and I'll draw the hands. When I'm inking, it's the same mentality. I'm going in there, I'm putting all the details of the face, and this time when I'm inking, I'm trying to be as precise as I can. Sometimes I don't follow the pencils, sometimes I do, because when I don't follow the pencils, it's because I see something that can be fixed during the inking stage. After all the micron use of inking the faces and hands, I'll start using the brush. When I'm doing comic book work, I also use crow quills as well as technical pins. But for this piece here, this Inktober piece, because I'm trying to do these as quick as I can, I'll just use the brush and then a micron just to speed up the process. So here I'm inking all the outline of the character first, Mr. Sinister. Inking all the outlines, and then I'll dip the pen in the bottle of ink, and then I'll just go in there and I'll start adding shadows. Even at the stage when I'm adding shadows, I'm sometimes adding more shadows than what I penciled in, because I'm also thinking about light source as I'm making it. A lot of times when I'm making it, I'll see the whole image clearer than what I had in original pencils. So here I'm just adding all the shadows around the fingers, underneath the sleeve, on his leggings, on his pants, all those little separate parts, and then just giving it more form. And then after adding all the shadows, right now I'm just adding all the globs of shadows. Then later I'll go back in there and I'll start adding gray areas where I'll start tapering the lines, and then putting all that in. But first I'm gonna inking everything first, adding all the straps, make sure everything is dry before I start tapering all those lines. So I'll add in all those wings, making sure they flow from one point to another so it's not crooked when it overlaps or underlap another image. And then here I'm starting to taper. When I'm tapering, this is a really quick process for me. I've been doing comics for so long that I've learned this technique of tapering. I'll go very thin and I'll go thicker as I go into black. Sometimes I don't even fill in the black area. I'll just go and I'll start tapering, and as I taper, I'll fill in the blacks as I go. But for the Inktober pieces, I'm just going in there and I'm hatching lines and inking gray areas to give it more of a tone. So here, all this process is just me doing line, taper, and just filling it in, and then turning the page and just concentrating and focusing on just taper lines. So this does take a little bit of a practice to get used to tapering it like that. But once you get used to it, it does come fairly easy. After I did all the tapering, I'm going to go in there and do all the detail of his costume, all the stripes, contouring, again, contouring around his body, making sure that the form is round, that arcs around his body. And then here I'm adding a little bit of shadow underneath some of the straps just to pull the ones in the front forward a little bit, just to give it some shadows in the back. Adding that there, and then adding more shadows along the way, because once I'm done, I'll see little details that I can add along the way. Underneath the stomach, I added a little bit of shadow. And then now, when everything's done, I'll just erase it. And then again, when I'm erasing, I'll erase in between my two fingers on my left hand. This way, I don't scrunch up my drawing paper. This is the kneaded eraser I'm using. After the initial kneaded eraser, I'll take a vinyl eraser, because the vinyl eraser erases much better. And finally, I'll use my brush to give it a more solid black ink. Sometimes after erasing, your black ink will kind of turn gray. So I usually get brush and I'll add a few more layers of ink on top. And here I'm using a gel pen. The gel pen, I'm just marking lines right across the black ink just to give him more detail. So those stripes are going through the black shadow areas as well. And then after that, that's how this looks and is all done. And then finally, when I sign my name, that's the completion of the project. Mr. Sinister, right over here. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so anytime I upload a video, you'll be one of the first to see it. I'm trying to have one video a day for all of October, for all the Inktober pieces. So let me show you what I've done so far. So Inktober day number 1, I worked on Thanos. Inktober day number 2, I worked on Superman. Inktober day number 3, I worked on a Sentinel. And you can look at my previous older videos that I posted maybe just a few days ago, because I'm doing it one a day and I haven't missed a day yet. Inktober day number 4, I worked on Dr. Doom over here. Inktober 5, this was a commission piece of Gambit right over here. There's that holographic sticker that a lot of you commented on. Yesterday's Inktober video was me working on MODOK. This is MODOK. So I haven't mentioned this in previous videos. I actually drew it in pencil on one side first, but I forgot to hit record on my camera. So I decided to just scrap that and redraw it all over so you can see it on video. And today's inking video was Mr. Sinister. So thank you for watching. Check out some of my old videos if you haven't seen it yet. Until next time, keep on drawing. I hope my videos inspire you to continue to do art. And if you haven't drawn in your life before, I hope just pick up your pencil and just scribble just like how I do it. Right at the beginning, I'm just doing a lot of scribbling. So check out my friend Burby Productions YouTube channel. I'll add links below again, and then check out my website waldenwongart.com, as well as my Patreon page, patreon.com/waldenwongart. Take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.